Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the Historic Commercial Center District podcast, the Commercial Center Vibe. My name is Paulasadler, your host, and I'm excited to be here today. In our first introduction, I gave you a little overview of kind of how I came to be here and a little bit about the Commercial Center. So who are we? Who is Commercial Center? Well, we have been here since 1963 serving Las Vegas. We're one of Las Vegas's most historic shopping centers, and not just a shopping center. This is a place to live, work, and play. We have hundreds of homes around us in our historic neighborhoods, including the Las Vegas Country Club. We have Paradise Palms just a few blocks away. Huntridge is another few blocks away. You know, we're right here in the center of it all. And we opened in 1963, and it was October 1963. One of our first businesses listed from Vintage Vegas online was a Gigi's shoe store. And then, you know, here we are, 2023, 60 years later. I mean, what a ride. If you could survive in Las Vegas in the desert for 60 years, you've got something special there. You know, I'm in the beauty business aside from being president of our business association and doing some community works. And, you know, my business is beauty. And I kind of looked around and I thought about, you know, other businesses that are successful in Las Vegas. I'm like, you know, man, maybe I should have opened a liquor store or a bar. I'm like, you can't fail in Las Vegas if you have a liquor store or a bar. But that's not my business. I'm in the beauty business, and not only do I enjoy beautifying people, making beautiful spaces like I have here at my spa in Las Vegas, but also my passion for beauty has really extended outward into the community. So, you know, you could probably look at me as like some kind of voracious weed. You know, you have these plants that they just start growing and going, and some of them are beautiful and they have beautiful flowers, right? And I kind of feel like that's my work, how it's just kind of migrated out there beyond my own doorstep. When I first moved in, I told my landlords, I said, do you mind if I put a few plants outside? And they're like, yeah, that's fine. And all of a sudden, there are these plants going in. There's lighting. There's railings. There's water. And they're like, oh, you have to stop that. You really can't do that. And I said, but it's so beautiful, and everybody should be doing this. So that's just kind of a little bit about my personality. It's like, yeah, sometimes it's better to ask forgiveness than to get permission. But okay, so here we are, Commercial Center. I invite you all down to come and experience the real mom and pops of Las Vegas. That's who we are. If you love wonderful foods, exotic foods, ethnic foods, all different kind of foods, Commercial Center is the space to be. We have a wonderful restaurant row, what I call restaurant row, right here at Building E in Village Square. And you can get everything from amazing Mexican food at La Vecindad to Colombian dining at Brasa Roja. You can even travel around the world and go to Africa and have some Nigerian fare at Angie's Nigerian Food Restaurant, Las Vegas. But there's even more than that. We have over, 15 restaurants. That's amazing on this 40 acres that we occupy here in Las Vegas, just a few blocks from the Strip. We're on Sahara Avenue between Paradise and Maryland Parkway, so really just a hop, skip, and a jump from the Sahara Hotel. So if you're a foodie, well, we've already got a reason for you to come here. Our Las Vegas locals have been enjoying our foods for 60 years. Why shouldn't you? I do. I've eaten at, I think, every single restaurant in here. I could eat at a different restaurant every day of the week and enjoy a different flavor. If we go across the lot to our B section, I call it the Market Street Village because it's off of kind of Market Street in Sahara. We have the Balkan Bar and Grill, which is amazing. That one is this wonderful Mediterranean fare, 9,000 square foot restaurant and event space. And the owner, Irina, is an absolute doll. She's just so sweet. What's great about coming to a place like Commercial Center is you get this family feeling. It's not some polished corporate image where everyone has to be perfect. No, it's just real life. It's real families. It's real life. It's real people. And, we learn a lot from corporations and from structure and from all of that. And that's a wonderful thing. And I incorporate that into my business. But if you want to experience Las Vegas the way it used to be, this is the place. So what do we have here? Who are we? Not only do we have wonderful dining, we have event spaces for you to host your wedding or your reception or your quinceañera. The most beautiful banquet halls that you have ever seen. Oh my God, these places are they're like little fantasy getaways. You just got to get in and see. We have 24-hour bars and lounges, and there's been an explosion of art here that has come about. And actually, on that point on art, so let's go back. Let's just rewind and go back in history a little bit. So I opened my beauty salon here in 2004. My very first client, as I told you from the first episode, she was like, I can't make it. I'm so scared. I'm like, thinking, what is she scared of? You know, like what? There's dirt out there. That's normal. We're getting a new sidewalk. There's nothing wrong with this place. But here's what happened. Here's what I saw that happened. It's people think that when something is old, it no longer has value. I mean, what do you do with your grandparents? Do you put them on an ice float and push them out and say, okay, bye, you know, it's been nice? No. We look to the elders of the tribe for wisdom and guidance. We are the elders of the tribe of Las Vegas. We have been here through the thick and thin of it all. You know what happens in the world and in Las Vegas and in life in 60 years? A whole lot. And for us as a business community of 100, we've had anywhere from about 150 to 200 businesses at one time. And to have these tenacious business owners living their dream amongst the most impossible odds, a recession, a pandemic, and that's just in the recent years. We can go back, we can go back to Vietnam. We can go back to all these other things that happened and all the turmoil of the 60s and the civil rights. Many places didn't make it. We're one of the lucky ones. So there's some kind of magic here at Commercial Center. There is a real special energy. It's in the ground. It's in the very ground that we are in. And I'm excited to share it with you. I'm excited to share the story with you. So, going back to that time, it's like, okay, who are we and why should you come to Commercial Center? It's a good question. For me, I value the history. I value our historic parts of Las Vegas. Like I said in the first episode, I'm from Los Angeles, and I've traveled also all around the country, and I've also traveled abroad. And there's something very special about all those beautiful historic places. There can be a lot to be said for mid-century modern architecture, which is most of our buildings. Some people think it's fabulous and great, especially when it's super modern, and others are like, there's something lacking there. There's something missing. But it's more important to look beyond the outer experience and the aesthetic. And really, once you open the doors and you start getting into places like this is just one little room. You're going to, I'm sure, see more as time goes on. And I invite you to tune in to my other channel, other podcast, Elevate You. And in that one, we're going to be doing holistic healing and wellness. And we're going to showcase the salon and spa. And I'm going to invite you into kind of the spiritual world of what I do. But that is just a little segment when you see that of like, what's waiting here? This place is amazing. We have like amazing entrepreneurs who are really forward thinking. They are visionaries. They are pioneers. The aesthetic of the businesses are like mind blowing. When you walk into Balkan Bar and Grill, you're transported to another world. When I go into La Vecindad Mexican restaurant and there's mariachi playing and there's music, there's these vivid colors, the smells of the food, and then the fresh tortillas that are being made, I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm all in. I'm totally sold, and I can't get that when I go into, outside of the Commercial Center. It's not the same. It's kind of nice to go where someone knows your name. It's like, cheers, like everybody knows your name. Anyways, that's just a little bit about us, and there's just an amazing group of individuals here, an amazing group of business owners, and I want to say thank you to all of the business owners that have been supporting my dream and vision since I first came here in 2004. I did find those friends. I did make those friends. I reached out to I went and knocked on the door of over 200 business owners here, more than once, over and over again, and simply extending my hand out, saying, "Hi, neighbor. I'm your neighbor. I'd love to work together. Let's do something great together. Let's take a look at what our challenges are, and let's come up with a solution together." And in the beginning, I found about 12 or 15 people to come aboard as that initial business association. And so what happened was I opened my salon in 2004, and by about 2005, I really became kind of disheartened by a lot of the comments that I heard, not only from not only from customers, but also from business owners. And it just seemed to me at the time that everyone had these blinders on and they had this tunnel vision. And I'm like, why can't they see beyond their own front door? I don't understand. And I just took it upon myself that, what can I do to make this better? So, like I told you before, I'm not a person that takes no for an answer. And so by about 2005, I'd heard so many of those comments, and I realized that we kind of had a little bit of a bad reputation. And I didn't know far beyond that, but I knew that wasn't good, and that's not good for business. I'm like, okay, well, what are we going to do about this? So I decided to go talk to the business owners. I went to the property owners and I said, hey, this is what's going on. These are some problems and challenges that we have. I wrote letters to the business owners. I went and knocked on everyone's door. I went and asked for help from the county. And, what happened was, as I talked to the business owners, they were like, oh, well, someone else needs to do something about this. And they were like, oh, the county should do something about this. Or the property owners should do something about this. And then I would go talk to the property owners and they'd say, well, the county should do something about this. And then the customers, they're kind of caught in the middle. They don't know who's supposed to do what. And, all they see is the outer appearance. And, if you see trash or you see a little bit of graffiti or you see something that's not kept up, it's not good public image. It's not good curb appeal. So I just couldn't take it anymore. And, everyone was blaming everybody else. And then I ended up just saying to myself, I said, well, what can I do? And so at the time I called the county, and the commissioner then, Myrna Williams, sent her liaison out to speak with me, Danny Geraldo, a community liaison. And I told him what the situation was. I said, hey, we've got some graffiti we need to clean up. And he's like, okay, well, let me see what I can do. And you know what? They helped a little bit. They brought me 5 gallons of paint, some white paint, and some paintbrushes. So that's how this all started. It started with this manager of La Quinta saying, I don't feel safe. Then it began to be the business and property owners like, somebody else needs to do something about it. Then the Clark County at the time, and this is 2005, they're like, okay, yeah, we'll help you. Here's 5 gallons of paint and some brushes. You know what? I was so grateful for that 5 gallons of paint. And I sent out flyers to all the businesses at the time asking if they would consider volunteering. And did you know, out of 200 business owners at the time, one of my friends came forward as a volunteer, just one person, and Joan, and she says, I'll help you paint the graffiti. I said, okay, thanks, because we're doing it. And I remember that very day I had my golden retriever with me, Buddy, and we went out to one of these little side streets over here off of State Street by the Ice Palace. What was the Ice Palace? It was now the Sahara Event Center and roller hockey. We went over there, and that's one of the first little places that we started to clean up. And my cleanup project is really not just about pulling weeds and about removing graffiti. Actually, there's quite this huge spiritual movement that's underneath all of it, which I didn't really talk about a lot many years ago, but as a very spiritual person myself and having a lot of faith in my higher power and what I do, I also do holistic healing. My holistic healing actually started to come out into the community. And I had done a series of prayers, meditations, and affirmations, at that time. And because I also practice feng shui, when all of this stuff was going on, I really kind of looked inward and I prayed about getting some direction and guidance and what can I do? How can I be helpful? And what happened was, one day I noticed that there were these seagulls in the parking lot. And I'm like, what are seagulls doing here? Not just tiny little seagulls that we see at Lake Mead, full-size ocean seagulls. I'm like, what are they doing here in a parking lot? And I thought, did they come from the country club, from the water over there? Are they from the Bellagio? I mean, like, where are they from? And I was so fascinated, I started taking some pictures of them, and I counted how many were there. There were about 35 or 40. And I did try to get in touch with one of the bird societies to come out. I thought this would be fascinating if they could tag these birds. We can find out their migration patterns and see where they came from and where they're going. But so that happened. I never did get in touch. And actually, I'm going to put a call out there. Whoever's watching, if you are a bird enthusiast or part of the people that help to track those migrations, we'd love to get a little help with that, because we still have this family of seagulls here that has been here now for 20 years that I know of, maybe even before that. And they brought something very special to Commercial Center. We really owe everything to these beautiful birds that came here in 2004 that I noticed them, 2004, 2005. And I went to my book, Animal Speak by Ted Andrews, and I had to look up, what does this bird mean? And you know what they mean? They mean ecological cleanup. They stimulate nonverbal communication between people by the way the baby bird pecks at the red spot on the mama bird's mouth to get the food. And so I read all that, I took all that in, and I told myself, oh my gosh, this is what I'm supposed to do. And I said, this is time for a community cleanup. I was inspired to clean up the community because I saw a seagull in the parking lot. Now, it takes a very special kind of mind to go from looking at a bird and seeing a bird and saying, how does that translate into a community cleanup project? But that's how my mind works. So I hope you've enjoyed this segment as we, talk about, how this all came to be. Well, I had a room rental. First I started on Maryland Parkway. I started working for my hairstylist, actually, when I got out of school. She was my hairstylist previously. I was there about a year. She offered to sell me her salon. I decided I didn't want to buy that one. Then I moved to Charm Salon on Paradise Road, and after a few months, that owner wanted to sell me that salon. And I said, wow, all these owners want to sell me their salons. They must see something in me. And, I was coming in, I was the only person in 2003 when I came into that salon. I had my own assistant. I had developed my own website, one of the first beauty salon websites in Las Vegas. I had my own retail. I had my own everything. And I told the owner, I said, why don't you have retail in the front here? And why don't you have a receptionist? I don't understand. These are all the things that are important and the trending now. So after I decided, a long thought about not, about purchasing or not purchasing that particular beauty salon, which it seemed like a really good deal. The price was right, and it was full of technicians. My friend Robert, who I met through 12-Step Recovery, he was searching around some locations for me, and he says, I found the perfect place for you. And actually, I was going to some meetings right here in Commercial Center for about 2 years at that time, and he said, you got to come take a look at this space. So we went and we took a look at what was my first unit, E11A. It was 844 square feet. It was a previous beauty salon, so it had a floor, it had mirrors, it had hookups for a washer and dryer, it had hot and cold water already, and then it also had shampoo bowls. So it had everything that I kind of needed to start. I just had to put my furniture in and go and paint and do some decorating. And I really didn't know much more about the area. I just know that I had went to beauty school here in the late 90s, mid to late 90s, and I thought, okay, I also was an employee here, and then I found 12-Step Recovery here. So I knew the area, but I didn't know also about some of the challenges that were here. But I'm grateful that I moved in because it helped me to flourish and to utilize gifts I didn't even know that I had.
So you went from that square footage to what it is now, and what is that square footage?
Well, now I went from 844 square feet. We doubled. We became over 1,500 square feet, 1,600 square feet the next year when my next neighbor moved out. And then I had to wait a long time until 2018 and took another third expansion. So we went originally from 844 square feet to now we are over 2,500 square feet with 21 service stations. It's been quite a journey.
And your passion is health and beauty.
My passion is beauty. My first love is actually music, which I'm a singer as well, and writing, and really helping people to heal. And I've been able to do that not only through beauty, but also through using my spirituality and my gifts to help heal others, not only in my beauty salon, but out in the community. Well, actually, yes. I have had a few celebrities here, and there's probably been some that have come that I didn't really know about, but I'm really grateful that one time we had, there was this one woman who came in, and she was here a little bit. She was getting some services, and after she was comfortable, she says, do you mind if I call my fiance? I'm going to have him come in and get some services. And she did, and when he came in, I got to meet him, and then I found out he was Sugar Shane Mosley, boxer, and he was really sweet and very nice. They were just so nice, and they even had his son come in at the time. Another time, it's so funny, they I guess they send scouts in to make sure places are okay. I had another nice woman come in, and she was getting services, and then she says, I'm going to call my husband to come in and get something too if you have an opening. I said, okay, sure. And then when he came in, we're talking, I'm like, so what do you do? Because I always ask that to clients. I'm like, what kind of work do you do? And he's like, I'm with the NFL. And I was like, oh, wow, And it was Kyle Arrington, a running cornerback for the Patriots. And I hope I got that term right, because I'm not like huge. I don't know all the football terms, but they were very sweet and very nice. One time Carrot Top popped in on a Monday. We were doing a special bridal party, and he's like, have any openings? I'm like, I'm so sorry. And how do you tell like a celebrity and somebody like, I'm so sorry, we don't have anybody right now for that. So I feel kind of bad about that, but I really didn't have anybody I could have for his service, but I would have loved to have his service here. And those are just in my business. Actually, over at Lotus of Siam, I'm just like star, shocked with all the wonderful celebrity clientele that they've had. I've seen on their wall with the owner, Pharrell and Drew Barrymore and all of these other stars. So it's pretty amazing, actually. And you wouldn't think that, like, stars go to Commercial Center? Like, yeah, stars go to Commercial Center because we're real. We're the real mom and pops. There's nothing fake here. What makes us different? That's a good question. I don't think it's a quick answer, but I'll try to give you the quick answer. I think what makes Commercial Center difference, the Commercial Center difference, is the realness. That we are real. We are family. There is a real family here. And you have children working in the businesses, the younger generations coming in, and, there's multi-generational. And what makes us different is the amazing historical significance and value we have in Vegas, and that we've lasted 60 years. We have something to share with the community, and with up-and-coming entrepreneurs and business owners. We can show you how to survive in the desert for 60 years. That's a miracle. So thank you for joining us for the Historic Commercial Center District podcast, Commercial Center Vibe. We really appreciate your support, and we really thank you for considering making a donation today to our project. And we are on GoFundMe.com/Commercial Center Fund. All of that money goes to support Historic Commercial Center and neighborhood preservation efforts. It will support our 150 plus women, minority, and LGBTQ plus business owners. Also, it for real practical, what we do, cleaning, removing graffiti, keeping the area safe and clean, security, all of those things. And that really benefits not only our businesses, but all the surrounding neighborhoods and communities. And we are happy to do that. So thank you so much for considering making a donation. You can also visit us online at commercialcenterdistrict.com under Shop and Donate, and we have some tabs there, everything from $20 to, if your heart feels open enough, you can sponsor a whole year of costs for some of what we do. So thank you so much, and we'll see you at Commercial Center.